I am excited to be here, and I'll share a little bit about my own journey and a little bit more about Maverick and kind of how this people function comes to life at Maverick and how that's evolved over the years. I have what I would say are some words of wisdom that I'll share with you as well, and the lessons I've learned along the way and the things that I thought I knew that I really didn't know anything about until I grew up and got into something. So, and then want to make sure I leave some time to answer any questions that you guys might have, whether it's about HR, whether it's about Maverick, or if anything else. I can pretty much get through about any question you might ask me, I think. So, here's a little bit about what my career journey has looked like. So, graduated from Arizona State University with a marketing degree, and was really glad I had the opportunity to have a couple of internships while I was in college, because what I quickly realized via those internships is that the sales side of marketing was not my gig. So, graduated from college. What do I do with this marketing degree? I interviewed with, the placement center and all the companies that come in and do all their interviews, and fell in love with Target. And thought, well, what do you do at Target? Like, you cashier or you stock shelves? So do you really need this college degree to work at Target, right? There's a retailer, for crying out loud. And I kind of had to go through this decision-making process in my own head about what was that really going to be like, and was I going to put these years that I had just spent toiling away to work on this great degree to use when I got my first real job. But I fell in love with the people that I had an opportunity to interact with. And they invited me to come out and spend the day in one of the stores to see what this job was really all about. And they offered me a job in their management training program, which basically is like an assistant manager at Target. Once you get done training, then you go take one of these positions. And I learned it's not all about just cashiering and stocking shelves. So it turned out to be an absolutely phenomenal experience. I got to open some new stores, moved around quite a bit. I was in Phoenix at the time, relocated here to Salt Lake City, moved out to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, and then came back here to Salt Lake City. So pretty cool, exciting opportunities that I was able to get in the retail industry that I had no idea really even existed in the space I had grown up in prior to that. So I'm plugging away at Target. I decide I should go back and get my master's degree. Really, my sister, my younger sister, signed up, and she entered an MBA program, and I thought, I can't let her get there before I get there. Like, I'm the older sibling, I should be there first. So I jumped in and decided the MBA piece wasn't really going to get me the focus I wanted, because one of the things I'd learned at Target is that I really, really loved the people development side of things. So trying to figure out how do I become more knowledgeable in this space, and what else can I do with that type of information from a career perspective. So I went back to school at the University of Phoenix. What was great about that for me at that time, right, as a non-traditional student, I couldn't quit my job and go back to school full time. I didn't have the opportunity to enter one of those other programs where you're spending Friday, every other Saturday, whatever those other programs can offer to you. And so University of Phoenix provided a solution for me. So got to work full time, still did all the stuff I was doing. Took me about a year and a half, got through my master's degree. In the meantime, I'd been promoted at Target, and that's when I moved out to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. I was able to stay with my program and continue online, came back to Salt Lake City, and then Best Buy starts entering the market here. So I thought, oh my gosh, what a great opportunity to open up another brand new market, because I got to do that with Super Target here. And there's nothing like building it yourself versus having to come in and do what someone else, fix something else that maybe isn't operating the best that it could be. So I joined the Best Buy team, did a lot of different things there as well. Supported their merchandising program as a district merchandising manager, so all the displays and stuff in the store. And then I moved into the HR role so that I got full time to do what I absolutely love to do, which is help take care of people in a way that I couldn't quite do because I didn't get to write all those programs or develop programs. I just kind of delivered and executed to take care of our people. So spent about 12 and a half years with Best Buy. Most recently was supporting the Southeast region. So think Tennessee down to Puerto Rico, Alabama over to the coast, all those stores in there. So I lived here, hopped on a plane on Monday, flew across country, came home on Friday, and turned around and did it again every single week. So great experience, great opportunity, but what I realized is I was missing a lot of stuff happening here at home. And decided it's time to find something here, because I don't want to move to Florida, which is where I would have needed to move if I wanted to stay within the region and not have all the travel that I had. So I started looking for an opportunity here, and I ran into Crystal Call Magalette, whose father, Jay Call, is the founder of the old Flying J travel centers. So had an opportunity to talk to Crystal and decided I have to work for this woman. She is dynamic, she's exciting, there's so much to her story, I can learn so much from her. So I joined her team. She says, gosh, we've just purchased Maverick, and your retail experience is gonna be great for Maverick. So I slide into the role at Maverick, and that's where I've been for the last 6.5 years. When FJ Management, who is our parent company, that's the company that Crystal owns now and runs, acquired Maverick from a different branch of their family. So really small family-owned company, not a lot of structure, and not a lot of stores at that point in time, and no HR support at the executive level. So we had an HR manager and someone who did some talent acquisition stuff, and they had about 250 stores at the time, and that was kind of it. So I got to come in and build the whole people function and really reestablish what was important to us as a company and how we could take care of our employees. So again, the opportunity for me to do what I love to do and what I do best every single day. So we'll talk a little bit more about what I've learned kind of along the way. So I have to remind myself to always assume positive intent. When you find yourself in different situations, that it's really easy based on how you look at the world because of your experiences, the lens you have, the thought you have around someone, how someone may respond to that, and then misinterpret an action or their words or their behaviors, and something can go completely sideways. And I would say that in the people function, right, we're complicated beings. And if we didn't work with people, life might be kind of easy, right? You can tell a robot or a machine what to do, and it just keeps doing it. And then people come into the mix, and you don't always know what to expect. So you got to ground yourself in always assuming positive intent. Because what it can do for you when you effectively do that, so it can open up communication and really help you get to the root of whatever it is you're working through and build deeper relationships with people and create trust on a very different level. And at the end of the day, that trust is really what matters in relationships. And in the people business, it is all about trust, right? Think about who you want to work for, who you want to hang out with, who do you want to do business with. You don't want to do any of those things with people you don't have trust with. So assuming positive intent really kind of gets you out of the gate in a pretty good place. Success is a poor teacher. I have never learned a lot when I've been successful in the sense of lessons learned, right? But when I've failed at something, I've been able to walk away with a lesson and some sort of growth for myself. So I had applied for a promotion when I was at Best Buy, and I was ready for this job. It was the territory HR director job. And I kind of skated into this. Everyone's telling me how fabulous I am, and I'm the right person for the job. So I walk in with the wrong mindset, and I didn't get the job. And it crushed me. And I had to step away and figure out, what am I going to do differently? And how am I going to actually go get some feedback and fix my own attitude? because I think that's probably what the biggest thing was that got in my way. As a result of that and reaching out to lots of people and getting lots of feedback, not all of which I totally loved, for sure. The next time that job became open and I applied for it, I got there. And I really believe, philosophically, if you can learn from those mistakes, you're going to be even better. It's okay to fail. That's what happens, and it's how we all grow. And it really is what spawns even greater ideas and solutions, products, services, you name it. Asking for help is a sign of strength. So, you get promoted and you think, I'm the boss now. I got to know all the answers. I got to do everything. Like you wear a cape and you become this super person to do everybody else's jobs. And that's not what you should do in a leadership role, right? You get people to follow you. So when you need help, ask them, invite your team to take that journey with you, because you're going to get a whole lot more done, and you're going to empower and develop people along the way, which is a really great experience for me. And again, one of those things that's really important to me. So finding a way that I could do this in my day job and what I do every day has been really important to me. It's also really important when you don't know the answer, you don't make it up. And sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where someone's asking you a question and you think, I should know this answer. This is what I do. They are expecting me to be the expert. I'm not sure, but I'm going to find out, is a really great response. And then go find out and go back to them and share that answer. But don't put yourself ever in a situation where someone's going to doubt your credibility because you think something is pretty directionally right and you float something out there as completely factual. Because it will come back to haunt you in a way that won't help somebody assume positive intent about you in the future. Delegate and empower people. Again, that cape that we all wear when we first get promoted to be the super manager, and I'm going to show everybody else how to do all this stuff. You don't get it done by yourself. And when you think about, 1 + 1 = more than 2, when you can collaborate and you can empower people and give them opportunity to grow, they will always exceed your expectations. We've all been there at some point where we needed that opportunity. I think about my own career and the times where if my leaders didn't give me that opportunity, I never would have gone on to do all the things that I have done. I never would have gone out and tried different things, failed at some of them, been successful at others, and continued to learn and grow. So share that, and how can you apply that? Think about how you can apply that in all aspects of your life, because it doesn't just fit in the business world, right? I mean, think about how many of you have children, nieces, nephews, pets, right? We have to teach those people, or our pets, right, how we want them to do things. It's the exact same thing in the workplace. You're doing it with different people. Does that make sense? I think the other big lesson is how you show up matters a lot. So when you think about the people in your life that are inspiring to you, who you want to follow, who you want to learn from, it's how they engage with you, right? A person who doesn't give you any time of day, doesn't treat you with respect, is likely not someone that you're going to want to spend much time with. It's probably not the leader you're going to follow. It's probably not the people you're going to make friends with, right? So all of those things matter. And when you talk about presence as an individual in a business setting, in a social setting, it all comes back to how you show up and engage with them. So how are you present? How many times have you seen someone in a meeting and they've got their phone? Yep. And they're talking and they are working away on that phone. Are they in the moment with you? No. What about the person who's on the phone? Yep, and they're talking, right? Like, the best gift you can give anyone is your time. And if someone is coming to you for whatever it is that they need, give them exactly what you would want, which is full attention. And I think in the workplace, this can get really hard. I think about my own schedule, and I've got this meeting, and I've got to run over here, and I've got 600 things in my mind that I'm trying to get taken care of. But that person that came to talk to me about their problem needs me to be present and in that moment to connect with them and help them find a solution. I don't ever want anyone to feel like some of the leaders I've had in the past made me feel, which is where I was unimportant. And the same thing applies at home. How many times are we thinking about all the stuff we've got to get done, and the grocery shopping and clean the house, and we got to get the kids here, and we got to do this, that we're not present and in the moment, and then you turn around and you look back, and all of a sudden, our little people are bigger people today, and we missed a whole bunch of stuff because we weren't present. So lots of stuff that applies in the business world that applies in our personal lives as well. Be curious. It's far better to be interested than be interesting. So when you think about people you want to be around, do you want to be around the person who only talks about themselves? Or do you want to be around that person who shares something about themselves but cares about you and wants to know about you? For me, I want that reciprocal relationship. That's how I get energy from people, and it's how I give energy to people. So I ask lots of questions. It's how I learn. Now, the pitfall to that, especially in the workplace, is someone says, "You must not trust me to do my job because you're asking me all of these questions about whatever it happens to be that we're discussing." It's how I learn. So I have to explain that, especially if I'm interacting with someone who I don't have a relationship with. If I have a new direct report, I got to help set that expectation that this is how I learn, and here's how I want you to interpret this exchange that we're going to have, but let's have some open dialogue about it. And most importantly, be radically candid. So Kim Scott wrote a book called Radical Candor. And it's a book that we've actually rolled out with our learning and development programs at Maverick to help our leaders understand what is this radically candid philosophy. Has anybody read that book? Seen it? Yeah? Phenomenal read. Because it talks about how do you care personally about people and how do you challenge them directly. Lots of people have a really hard time giving feedback to others, especially when it's that constructive criticism, right? Or coaching or redirecting behavior, because gosh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. When you're talking about an employee's work performance, we're talking about any of our family members, our children, our nieces, our nephews, our pets, right? If we don't give that direct, immediate, specific feedback, do we correct the behavior? No. So why is it different at work? We forget that when we walk through the door at work. We do it really well out here. We got to do it here. And it shows this axis, and how can you be obnoxious? You can be obnoxious to people with feedback, right? But you can also be very tactful, and you can earn respect with others. You truly show you care about people when you're willing to give them that direct feedback. Think about what you would want. If you weren't doing a great job, wouldn't you want to know? Wouldn't you want to know what you need to do to fix it? Because at least now it's up to you to do something with it, but you know why you're off track, right? If you're not doing well in a class, don't you want to know what's missing and how to get it back on track? Because none of us are paying to go to class and come back and take that class again, right? So feedback matters a lot. And it is a gift. So be radically candid all the time with tact, right? All right, here's a list, just some leadership competencies. This goes back to my thoughts early on about, gosh, why would you go to work in retail? How do you have a fulfilling career in retail? You're cashiering. You're stocking shelves. Why would you want to work at a gas station, for crying out loud? They sell hot dogs on a roller grill, fountain soda, and gas. Like, what am I going to learn in that environment? It's just a small list of the things and the skills you learn. Again, extremely transferable into your personal life as well as your professional life. And these competencies leading through change, that's not unique to an industry. Everything has change associated with it. So when you can effectively get yourself through the change curve, you can learn how to help others get there. Developing others, we've talked about that. That interpersonal effectiveness, those relationships, they matter all the time. And how do you build those skills? Well, you know what? I personally think in HR, the people business, I get to do this all the time. In retail, it's all about service and you're engaging with customers, you get to do this all the time. And the other really cool stuff is, then you start to learn how to use your critical thinking skills, and you can analyze data, and you can interpret data, and then you get into the strategic thinking aspects, and you start to build the vision for where something is going to go. Your department, the project you're working on, the company you're running. And when you start to put all those things together, for me, like that becomes the pinnacle of, I get to add so much value at a gas station who's selling more than hot dogs and fountain drinks and gas. So I'll tell you a little bit more about what that looks like. So before I jump into too much stuff about Maverick, career in HR, I think I've probably told you a lot about, you probably have an idea anyway about what I love most about people in the people business. And it's about connecting to others. It is not the career I ever thought I'd be doing, kind of like the whole retail thing, right? If you'd have told me that when I was in college, I would have laughed at you. And that's not, again, why I went to school. And in my mind, back then, when I thought about human resources, we used to call it personnel, which consisted of like pushing papers and sitting across the table from someone and just talking about payroll and filling out forms and entering stuff into the computer. We really didn't engage with people. That was not at all the space I wanted. There's no energy there for me. And then I get to learn this other side of what human resources really are, right? People resources. Nothing happens without people. And so, you know, every day is different. Every day is unique. For me, that's really good because repetition, sometimes there's value in that, but I don't want every single day to be exactly the same. I love the challenges of leading 6,300 employees at Maverick in 12 states throughout the Intermountain West. So that's 340 stores, most of which aren't here along the Wasatch Front. We have a corporate office. There's about 300 people in our corporate office. We've got our logistics division. We've got about 200 truck drivers. There's a lot of people you don't get to see every single day. So how do you figure out how to connect with every single one of them here in their heart? Because if you can connect here, right? When we connect here, you can engage someone, and when you can engage someone, you get discretionary effort like no other. And you can outperform anybody else out there because you're speaking to somebody in their heart and they believe in what you're talking about and where you're trying to take them. Right? Creating a great place to work is really important to us at Maverick. Convenience retailing, you know, it's gas. It's hot dogs, it's fountain drinks, it's burritos. What else is there? Well, it's ever-changing, right? Margins are really small. And when you think about how do you turn a profit in a convenience store? It's really tough. It's a lot of hot dogs you got to sell. It's a lot of gallons of gas because you're not making a ton of money. So how do we figure out how to stay profitable? How do we engage our customers and create raving fans that will go out of their way to shop at Maverick, to get their fuel there while they're out on their road trip, to get all their food and snacks there, whatever that looks like. The other challenge that convenience retailing, specifically with fuel, will face here probably in the next decade, So what happens when we no longer need fuel? Right? Electric cars? Something's going to change here pretty dramatically. That's how we make our money. So we got to figure out what we're going to do to differentiate ourselves and really remake ourselves so that we can continue to be here 10 or 15 or 20 years from now. For us right now, it's food service. We got to build our food service program because that can be a differentiator. In addition to the service we provide and the experience that we give someone in the store. But it's very challenging when you think about from an industry perspective, and something that had I not been in the role that I'm in today, probably never would have even thought about. So as you're thinking about, what do I do when I graduate? Where do I want to go? What kind of job do I want? Think about all the possibilities that are out there and how you want to make a difference. Because I will tell you, just about any business opportunity out there can afford that for you if you're really clear on what it is that you're looking for. So here's kind of how things come together for us at Maverick from a people perspective, right? Our purpose, it's all about how do we have fun building the coolest convenience experience on the planet? Because that's the only thing that matters to us. We have values, what guides us. We want to be a great place to work. We want to be a great growth company, and we want to be a great operator for our customers. We have what we call leadership standards. How do you show up and behave at work that treats others with respect? And we have what we call our titanium rule. Always treat others better than they expect to be treated. That's our customer. It's our employees. It's our vendors. It's the people who used to work for us. And this becomes our roadmap for not only how we drive the people functions at Maverick, but this keeps us grounded in all the rest of our business strategy as well. It's taken us a while to get here, and Maverick did not always have this. We rolled all of this out in 2017. So before that, the mission was build 300 stores. Like, how inspiring is that? It's cool to build 300 stores, but then what? What are you really trying to accomplish, right? So thinking about that and having a real guiding light to help bounce all your ideas and your strategies off of, this gives you that purpose and the direction. Lots of different functions, business functions at Maverick. So we have all these different groups and all the different pieces of anything you could think about is probably rolled up here at Maverick, other than like healthcare. So if you're a business, you're an accounting major or FP&A, we got those jobs. We have a whole team that does real estate, right? We design our own buildings. We go find land. We build stores. We have our marketing team, our category management team. Those are the buyers, the people who buy all the stuff that we sell in the stores. Got to merchandise it. Got to build this food service program. Got a whole bunch of IT functions, everything you could possibly imagine, because cybersecurity is pretty scary right now. You think about all the stuff that's going on out there. Really big risk as a company, so we got to make sure we're protecting ourselves. We've got our people functions. We got our legal department, our logistics supply, right? All those Maverick truck drivers that you see out there delivering fuel. We got to figure out where we're going to buy our fuel. We've got to figure out how we're going to get it from that point to that point, because this store needs it, and then that store needs some. It is truly a logistical challenge, but extremely fascinating. Someone who's in supply chain perhaps might be interested in that. Got all our people functions, like I said, and then our retail stores. So again, it's more than just working in a store, but leading a store team and learning that part of the business and then growing up, I think has made me much more successful in my role, because I've walked a mile in those shoes. I know what those challenges are. Now, granted, they're different challenges today than they were when I was at that point in my career, but I've earned credibility because I worked my way up every step of the way and continued to grow and develop myself. So my little plug for you, and I'd be happy to leave all my contact info for all of you when we get done, but you know, we've got internship opportunities. So if you're not sure what you want to do, or you need an internship because you're working on a project, Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can put together. The cool thing about being a family-owned business is we don't have to have a whole bunch of approvals and stuff like that for us to create this, right? There's always projects going on that we need help with. So we can pretty much create just about any internship opportunity if anyone's looking for something like that. Oh, now see, this is one of those font things that I didn't fix. It's like my personal pet peeve is when I do this stuff. So anyway, pretend you don't see that because I'm going to have to pretend I don't see it. Here's what we do on the people function at Maverick. Talent acquisition, right? We got to go hire people. It is really hard to do that today. Unemployment is at an all-time low. Wages continue to increase. It is the single biggest operating expense we have. We got to figure out how to find more people because they don't just keep multiplying out there when water splashes upon them like gremlins, right? So what are we going to do? But if we're not a great place to work, who wants to come and work for us? And if we don't pay competitively, who wants to come and work for us? Well, we got to figure this stuff out. Oh yeah, we're in a bunch of really small towns, and we've probably hired almost everyone in the town at some point. So we've got to get really creative about how we find employees. We also, with all those other business processes and business functions, have to create efficiencies so it doesn't take so long to do some of the work in the stores, right? Because now we can reallocate dollars differently because we're not going to have enough people to continue to grow the company at the rate that we're growing if we don't start doing different stuff. Our learning and development team, we write all of our own training content internally. So our job-specific training as well as our leadership training. So everything has the Maverick adventure lens on it because, you know, there's no corporate language that's like legit in our work environment. So we certainly couldn't buy some training off the shelf and go plug that in because it doesn't look and feel like us. So we have a team of individuals that develops all of that, and they go out and they help us when we open stores, and they help train employees in new stores. We've got like 25 new employees. We want to make them all excited about Maverick, help you understand what you're getting into, teach you how to do all the stuff you've got to do, have some fun along the way. One of my teams gets to do that. And then we've got our HR function. This is kind of the general taking care of people stuff, right? There's paycheck stuff, or, hey, I'm just struggling with this. I'm having problems with my boss about that. Hey, I want to get promoted. How do I develop to go have this kind of a job? So anything that we do touches every single employee that we have. There isn't a single thing that we do that doesn't impact, right? All the way down to our adventure guides. That's what we call our cashiers in the store. Adventure guides, remember? Nothing corporate-y, right? Why would it be anything like a cashier, right? How cool is it to be an adventure guide, though? So we get to build programs that really help put the employee at the center of what we do. I firmly believe that when companies take care of employees, employees are then equipped to take great care of customers. And when we take great care of our customers, they share their wallet with us, and they keep coming back to us. If we don't take care of employees, they're not engaged, they don't love what they do, how do you think that translates to the customer that's right across from them? Not real well. And when we don't take care of the customer, what happens? What do? We go somewhere else, right? So I view my responsibility in leading these functions at Maverick as truly the most important part of our company. Because if we don't have these great programs, I'm not going to find people, we're not going to keep them. Because it costs a lot of money when we have high turnover, and we've had really high turnover. When I got to Maverick, our turnover was 171%. Like, think about that, 171%. Like, all you do is try to hire people, and then you get them trained, and then they leave, and then you start all over again. So we've had to really get clear about what programs do we need to get into place so we stop the bleeding with turnover. Really excited to say that right now, year to date, and for our rolling 13 periods, we're at 94% turnover, which is really, still really high, but really, really great compared to where we've been. And my team is a big part of that. Because you can't deliver that consistent customer experience if you're always turning people over, right? So, my parting advice for you, relationships matter. So we've talked about how to build them. Don't ever overlook the opportunity to network. How many times have you heard it's not what you know, it's who you know? It matters. If you don't have a mentor or mentors, go get them. Because they're those people who are out there helping give you the advice, right? That job promotion that I applied for and didn't get, my mentor is the one who picked me up, gave me the feedback I needed about how my leadership immaturity is what got in my way, and then helped me find the resources to get myself back on track. I don't think I could have done it without him. And sponsors matter, right? Networking is different than mentoring, which is different than sponsorship, right? Sponsorship, sort of like mentors, but those are the people that are advocating for you when you're not in the room. Some great opportunity comes up and they say, I know the person who can do that job. Let me tell you all about her. Here are all the things that she has. Here's the skills. Here's why you need her in that job. Here's why you want her on that project. Here's why you want him to lead that team. So you need those people. You have them here in school, right? They're your professors. They're the guidance counselor, the admissions counselor, or the advisors, or your student success advocates, or whatever those various programs are. Don't forget about how important that is for the rest of your life when you leave school. Networking can be hard. So figure out what those resources are and figure out how you get yourself comfortable continuing to build that network. Be responsible for your own career. No one's going to give you anything, even though you got your sponsor out there advocating for you, working to get you positioned to continue to grow and develop yourself. You got to own it. Don't expect something's coming your way. There's no entitlement. You get out there and you work for it, and you take initiative. I can tell you that's what got me here, because I saw opportunities and I capitalized on those opportunities. And when I didn't see an opportunity, I created the opportunity. I made myself invaluable to those around me because I got stuff done. I listened, I asked questions, and I delivered on time. And it made a difference because people knew what to expect from me. And it really helped me get to where I want to go. Think about your career instead of a career ladder, right? That the only way I can grow and develop is to take that next promotion. I got to get promoted. I got to get promoted. I got to get here. There are ways to grow moving sideways. So think about a career lattice, right? A lattice fence, moving all over the place instead of just moving up. Because there are a lot of things that you can do to help yourself grow, to get different experiences, to get to wherever you want to be. And love what you do. You spend a lot of time at work, a lot of time with those people that you're working with. If you don't love what you do, if you don't find purpose in it, you don't love the culture, you don't love the people, don't do it. Someone could pay you $1 million, and if you don't love what you're doing, you will be miserable. And don't do that to yourself. You deserve more than that. So, with that, it's a little bit about me, a little bit about the things I've learned along the way, why I do what I do today, and why I get the energy from what I do. Would love to answer any questions that you guys have, whether it's about any of the stuff we talked about, anything else. The weather, I don't know if it's going to snow or not today. Probably don't know that answer. But is there anything any questions? Yes.
HR is actually the one thing I want to go into.
Okay.
Would you say there's a lot of opportunities here in Utah for HR?
Mm-hmm.
And what's a good starting point, you think? Would you recommend like an internship for that?
You bet. So, are there opportunities in HR kind of here in the Salt Lake area? Yeah, there are. I think companies are really figuring out that we got to figure out this people thing because it kind of matters. And yes, I think an internship is a great way to get in because there's so many different parts of the business that you want to get in and learn a little bit more about it, because you'll find perhaps that you like some parts of it versus others, right? And when you think about all the different things that happen in HR, there's some stuff that's glamorous and there's other stuff that isn't. So yes, I would absolutely encourage you to find an internship.
Thank you.
You bet.
Do you ever have internships in accounting? Because I'm always looking at Maverick for jobs, and it's always a specialist or accountant, but it's never just accountant intern.
So we don't have many internships in our accounting department specifically, but there are internships in our FP&A group, our financial planning and analysis group. So I think there's an opportunity to still connect with that. That doesn't mean we couldn't figure out how to create an internship in our accounting department and an opportunity for someone to learn. One of the things that's really important to me about our internship program is that it is not just a part-time job. You're not just coming in and giving somebody some schleppy work to get stuff done. If we're going to call it an internship, you better be able to demonstrate that you're going to be able to teach something to you, the student, so you walk away getting something out of it. Yes, lead a project for us, help us with that, get something done for us, but it's not a part-time job. So it's a part-time job, but it's not just about coming in and being an accounts payable clerk and going home. It's about really learning a project and learning more about what it is that you're studying and focused on. Yes?
What's the main source of revenue in convenience stores? Is it the gas or is it more on like the items you sell?
So it depends on the format of the stores. For us, it is, we have just about a 50-50 mix between our fuel sales and our in-store sales. You get a model like a 7-Eleven, who they have a lot of stores that don't have fuel. Obviously, they're relying heavily on what they're generating inside that store. But we have worked hard to get it to a 50-50-ish, pretty darn close. I will tell you, it was a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, right? A few years ago. Could we ever really do that? Because fuel certainly dominated. So from a pure revenue perspective, it's probably a little bit lopsided, but from a margin perspective, pretty darn close. Yes?
I mean, it sounds like you're very busy all the time, but how do you manage your work life and your home life?
How do I manage my work life and my home life? Sometimes it's very challenging. Personally, I've learned that exercise is good for me because I need an outlet. So I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning so I can get to the gym before I have to be at the office. And sometimes that's really hard, but it really gives me perspective, and I did something for myself. It's the hour I have every day for me. Then I go to work and I feel energized, and I can deal with all the stuff that's coming at me. And then I work really hard to make sure that I'm walking out the door at a fairly reasonable time every day. You know, sometimes it might be 6, sometimes it might be 7, but I make sure I'm home to have dinner with my family every single day. And then when I go on PTO, when I'm out of the office, I unplug. Because I need to be re-energized every single time I go away so that I can come back and give everything I have when I get back. So it's always a balancing act. Some days I am more successful than others. But that's generally what I try to do. Yes?
What percentage of employees run the cash register, and tell me about percentage-wise?
So the largest employee population we have is in our stores. So we have roughly 300 people at our corporate office. We've got 200 drivers, about another 50 people in our supply chain group. So the rest of those employees are really out in the field. In a store itself, we have a store director, a store leader, and then we have 2 assistant level roles, kind of like a key carrying type role. So they're hourly positions. We have an operations manager and a food service manager. And then we have a lead adventure guide, a lead cashier, and then the rest of those employees in the store are adventure guides. So when you talk about 25 people in a store, you've got 4 leaders. So all the rest of those times the rest of our stores, some stores bigger than others. So rough percentage is probably 70, 60%. Math part, not my strong suit. So you can help me with the math piece of it on our total count, but vast majority of our employees are adventure guides or cashiers. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes.
So you're talking about Maverick and positioning that as the adventure stop.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, did that adventuring kind of positioning come internally from HR's, we're going to be this, our company culture is going to be adventure, or did it come from marketing saying this is how we're going to position ourselves outwardly?
So really great question, right? So our adventure brand, did it start from a people perspective culture, or was it the external customer brand? It was all about the customer brand. And that has been our tagline for years and years and years, right? Maverick, Adventure's First Stop, which has put the whole theming together. It was all about our brand. And then we try to figure out, how do we match that with our culture? Listen, we're not all those people who go out and do those kinds of adventures, right? So we've tried to look at it differently from a culture perspective around whatever your adventure is, how do I help you get there? So it's been definitely all about the marketing piece, and our culture has been really slow to be defined. So you talk about intentional culture or unintentional culture. We have unintentionally gotten where we are from a culture perspective, and now we're putting boundaries around that and really doing things with intent, which really matter and I think has contributed to our impact on turnover. Yes?
With such a high turnover, what have you found works? Like, does raising the wage actually help?
Yes. Listen, if you don't pay people a living wage, nothing matters, right? So we used to pay people like $8 an hour. You want to do that job for $8? Because I don't. So we fixed that. So that's kind of like price of admission. And then when you look around and you can go to Chick-fil-A for $12, if we're not competitive with that, nobody's going to want to come and work for us. Once we fixed that, the next thing is you just got to be nice to people. So you think about as a manager and the relationship you have with your employees, it matters. And people stick around because of that relationship. So we've been really focused from a leadership development perspective with our leaders around how do you set expectations, how do you coach employees, how do you care personally about them, and how do you challenge them directly with great feedback. But wage does matter. I was really sad to see that that was probably the single biggest indicator to move it. But if you're not competitive, you can't even get into the game. Yes?
What's something we can do as college students right now to better network?
What can you do to better network as a college student? I would say any organization that you can get into and be a part of is really valuable. And then attend those social events and those business functions. Because when I was in school, a little while ago, but we always had alumni that came back, or we were out somewhere in the community and we had an opportunity to interact with a business leader. You want to make that connection, and when you're in this fairly safe setting because you're a part of this group, kind of makes it a little bit more comfortable. I think there are another thing you might think about if you're absolutely certain what your major is. There are a lot of professional organizations that are out there, right? So from an HR perspective, we have a Salt Lake SHRM group. Join SHRM and get out, and they've got events all the time. They've got trainings all the time. It's a great way to get out and meet people and begin that networking. The last thing I would say is if you don't have a presence and a profile on LinkedIn, you want to figure out how to start getting that created, because you can touch so many people and so many people that know so many people that it is a fabulous networking tool.
And we're learning how to do that next week.
Look at that segue. That was awesome. Yes, great question. So I want to be cognizant of time. I know that we're like about over. I'm happy to stay and chat all afternoon with anybody. But thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Appreciated the questions, and I can leave some of my business cards with you so that if there's anything I can do, networking, help you connect with something, looking for an internship, looking for something, reach out. Good luck to you guys. Thank you.